The legends of the Brazilian rainforest are as ancient and tangled as the vines that weave through the trees. Among them is the terrifying tale of the Capelobo, a blood-sucking creature said to haunt the dense forests and prey on the unwary. This is a story about one such encounter, set deep in the heart of the Amazon. Ana and Rodrigo were seasoned biologists from São Paulo, dedicated to studying the rich biodiversity of Brazil's vast rainforests. For their latest expedition, they ventured into an area of the Amazon that was rarely explored, accompanied by a small team of local guides. Their goal was to document species that had never been recorded before, but their journey would uncover something far more sinister. Their base camp was set up near a small river, surrounded by towering trees and the cacophony of jungle life. For the first few days, their work was productive and uneventful. They cataloged various insects, plants, and animals, each new discovery adding to their growing sense of accomplishment. But as they ventured deeper into the forest, an uneasy feeling began to settle over the group. One evening, as the sun dipped below the horizon and the forest was cloaked in darkness, they gathered around the campfire to share stories. One of the local guides, an older man named João, spoke up. "Have you ever heard of the Capelobo?" he asked, his voice low and serious. Ana and Rodrigo exchanged puzzled glances. "No, what is that?" Ana replied. Joao's eyes glinted with a mixture of fear and reverence as he began to tell the tale. The Capelobo is a creature of legend, but many believe it to be real. It is said to have the body of a man, the head of an anteater, and claws sharp enough to tear through flesh. The Capelobo feeds on the blood of its victims, draining them until they are lifeless husks. Rodrigo scoffed, trying to hide his unease. "Come on, João. It's just a story to scare children." João shook his head. "I've seen things in this forest that defy explanation. We must be cautious and respect the old legends." The group fell silent, the crackling of the fire the only sound breaking the stillness. Despite his skepticism, Rodrigo couldn't shake the feeling of being watched. That night, as they retreated to their tents, the forest seemed to close in around them, the darkness thick and oppressive. In the early hours of the morning, Ana was jolted awake by a blood-curdling scream. She scrambled out of her tent to find the camp in chaos. One of the guides, Carlos, was missing. The others were frantically searching the area, their flashlights casting erratic beams of light. "What happened?" Ana demanded, her heart pounding. "Carlos is gone," João said, his face pale. "We heard him scream, but we couldn't find him. There was blood, lots of it, but no sign of him." Fear gnawed at Ana as she followed João to the edge of the camp. There, illuminated by the trembling light of a flashlight, was a trail of blood leading into the dense undergrowth. Rodrigo joined them, his earlier skepticism replaced by a grim determination. "We need to find him," Rodrigo said, his voice steady. "He could be hurt." João hesitated, then nodded. "Stay close and be quiet. We don't know what's out there." They ventured into the forest, the darkness seeming to swallow them whole. The sounds of the jungle, once a comforting background, now felt like a sinister orchestra. Every rustle of leaves, every snap of a twig, set their nerves on edge. As they followed the trail of blood, Ana couldn't shake the feeling that they were being watched. Her mind raced with João's tale of the Capelobo, the image of the creature haunting her thoughts. They moved cautiously, their flashlights casting long shadows that danced eerily among the trees. After what felt like hours, they stumbled upon a clearing. The sight that greeted them was horrifying. Carlos lay on the ground, his body lifeless and drained of blood. Deep gashes marred his flesh, and his face was frozen in a mask of terror. Ana clamped a hand over her mouth to stifle a scream. Rodrigo knelt beside Carlos, his face ashen. This isn't possible. What could have done this?" João's voice trembled as he spoke. "The Capelobo. We need to leave. Now." Panic set in as they retraced their steps, their pace quickening with every step. The forest seemed to close in around them, the shadows growing darker and more menacing. Ana felt a chill run down her spine, a sense of impending doom hanging over them. Just as they neared the camp, a guttural growl echoed through the trees. Anna's blood ran cold as she turned to see a pair of glowing eyes watching them from the darkness. The creature stepped into the light, revealing itself in all its grotesque glory. It had the body of a man, twisted and hunched, with the head of an anteater. Its claws glinted in the moonlight, stained with blood. "Run!" Joao shouted, but it was too late. The Capelobo lunged at them with terrifying speed. Rodrigo pushed Ana out of the way, the creature's claws narrowly missing her. She hit the ground hard, the breath knocked out of her. As she scrambled to her feet, she saw Rodrigo grappling with the creature, trying to fend it off. The Capelobo slashed at him, and he cried out in pain. Desperation fueled Anna's actions. She grabbed a fallen branch and swung it at the creature with all her might. The Capelobo snarled and turned its attention to her, its eyes burning with malevolence. Ana backed away, her heart pounding in her chest. "Rodrigo, get up," she shouted, but he was already losing consciousness from his wounds. Joao, seeing an opportunity, charged at the creature with a machete. He managed to land a blow on its shoulder, causing it to howl in pain. The Capelobo turned on him, its claws slashing through the air. Joao fought bravely, but the creature was too strong. Ana knew they couldn't win this fight. With tears streaming down her face, she made a split-second decision. She turned and ran, her only thought to survive. The sounds of the struggle faded behind her as she sprinted through the forest, branches tearing at her clothes and skin. She didn't stop running until she burst out of the trees and into a small village on the outskirts of the forest. The villagers stared at her in shock as she stumbled into their midst, covered in blood and dirt. She collapsed to the ground, gasping for breath. "They're dead," she managed to say. "The Capelobo, it's real." The villagers exchanged worried glances. Some muttered prayers, while others rushed to help her. Ana was taken to a small hut and given water and bandages for her wounds. The village elder, an old woman with wise eyes, sat beside her. "You saw the Capelobo," the elder said softly. It was not a question, but a statement. Ana nodded, her hands trembling. "It killed them. Rodrigo, Joao, Carlos, they're all dead." The elder placed a comforting hand on her shoulder. "The Capelobo is a creature of the forest, a guardian of sorts. It preys on those who venture too deep and disturb the balance of nature." Anna's eyes filled with tears. "We didn't mean to. We were just studying the wildlife." The elder sighed. "Intentions matter little to the Capelobo. It sees only intruders in its domain." Days turned into weeks, and Ana remained in the village, recovering from her ordeal. The villagers were kind to her, but she could see the fear in their eyes whenever they spoke of the forest. The legend of the Capelobo was a part of their lives, a reminder of the dangers that lurked in the wild. Eventually, Ana returned to Sao Paulo, forever changed by her experience. She continued her work as a biologist, but the memories of that night haunted her dreams. She often thought of Rodrigo and Joao, and the horrifying creature that had taken their lives. The tale of the Capelobo became a cautionary story she shared with other researchers, a warning of the perils that awaited those who ventured too far into the unknown. And though she never returned to that part of the Amazon, she knew the Capelobo still roamed the dense forests, a guardian of the wild, forever watching, forever waiting.